The clairvoyance of being press is limited, and so we're going to try and get through as many press releases as possible. Today has been a very quite long day. Last night was a long night. It was the Nintendo Switch conference presentation thing, but Nintendo had a big thing about the Switch on the live streams. I'm guessing it was probably set in New York because it was like 5 hours. It started at 4 in the morning. Yes, went from 4 in the morning. I was recording until about 6:30 in the morning. Went to sleep, went to that, edit the video. That's the reason why this one is slightly late. So go and see that one if you're interested in learning about the Switch and all of the other stuff and all of the other things Nintendo. Probably going to be doing a follow-up on that as more things go by. But on the topic of the Nintendo stuff, there was a fair few things that were told and mentioned and all sort of things that were not mentioned in the actual presentation. Like much more games that came out. So let's just go after all because there's a big list of games that are coming out for the Nintendo Switch also, and so just gonna get them out of the way now. We have The Binding of Isaac Rebirth Plus heading to the Nintendo Switch, coming out in the spring. And we have a racer called Redout, which is being developed by 34 Big Things. I would just call it 34 Big Things because it's the actual word, but they actually have a thing in the press release saying it said 34 Big Things. Okay. It is being published by Nicalis. I think that's how you sell it. It's the same people who publish Binding of Isaac, so it's by the same publisher as Binding of Isaac and it's developed by 34 Big Things, and it's a racer called Redout, which is coming out in the spring. No date. We have Ultra Street Fighter 2. It's Street Fighter 2. We have Sonic Mania coming out in the spring of 2017 for all formats, including the NS. You have Disc Gear 5 for the Switch. No release date as yet. Published by NIS America. Super Bomberman R by Konami. It's a Bomberman thing. We have Fast RMX, which is this. No real other information is given. It just says from here, format, Switch, out, publisher, developer, Shinen. So, yeah. We have Has Been Heroes, published by Game Trust, developed by Frozen Byte. We have Just Dance 2017. It is already out for all of the current PlayStation consoles, all of the current Xbox consoles, and the Wii and the Wii U. It is also coming out on the Switch in March, which is more just catching up more than anything else. We have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming out for the Switch, coming out for the 28th of March, April, a month after release, well over a month after release. Then we have Snipper Clippers. Your guess is as good as mine. We have Puyo Puyo Tetris, published by Sega. It is one that is coming to the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. Bandai Namco has confirmed that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming to the Switch. We have Skylanders Imaginators, also coming for the Switch, as well as the also Ubisoft published Rayman Legends. But I also have other ones, like Farming Simulator. Farming Simulator 18 is coming to not just the Switch, but also the Vita and the 3DS. This is the confirmation of my notice that I had in the collage. NBA 2K18 is coming to the Switch, and we have a game called Siberia 3 coming out for the Switch as well. As a last bit of Switch news that has come through the pipelines is Ubisoft has released an official statement on the Switch, and yeah, it's a fairly standard response that you will kind of expect. It's going, yes, we are going to keep doing stuff for the Switch. We're going to keep doing stuff with Nintendo. It's kind of been a moneymaker for them anyway, with things like Just Dance being really built for the Wii, and Move controllers and things like that. So it's yeah, it's not really a great surprise. And the three that they say in the statement pretty clearly as games that are coming out for the NS is Just Dance 17, Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, and Steep. Steep is coming to the NS. After that, there isn't really that much news in the last 24 hours. There's a few things that are which is relatively yeah, the last 24 hours has basically been built for the NS, or just been singled out for the NS, so we have to, so going back into some other news that has come out through the press releases and things over the week. GDC has had its time again, and some results from some industry surveys and polling and stuff has come through, and there are a few key things that has been keyed out from the surveys, from the results of the surveys, that has created some quite interesting responses. One of the points that has been pulled out from it is the general optimism. We have a key part here quoting 50% of respondents believe that the Switch will outsell Nintendo's most recent home console, the Wii U, and with only 14% saying that it would sell less, and with the other 37% being unsure. So it seems relatively, the industry itself seems relatively optimistic, with it being that its ability to switch between portable and docked consoles seems to be a big selling point. That's probably the key point, is it's the industry is fairly optimistic about the Switch. That means nothing towards, for one, commercial viability, and two, it being making any money back. That entirely depends on the consumers, not on the industry. The industry can praise it to the high heavens. It doesn't mean that it's going to sell well. The people at sometimes are completely irrational, or at sometimes it just, there's something doesn't gel. So the industry as a whole is fairly optimistic about the Switch. This is an almost quite interesting comparison, considering that most developers are unsure, as it is quoted, are unsure about the mid-cycle consoles, that being Sony's PS4 Pro and the Xbox One Scorpio. With 41% of the survey respondents were undecided, 36% they were neutral on the subject, and 18% so they thought it was a good thing for the industry, with 5% saying it was going to be to negative development. So the industry generally is unsure about what the response is going to be, or the viability within the industry anyway, of these mid-cycle consoles. And I'm one of them. I don't like the idea of these mid-cycle consoles. It breaks one of my core tenets of consoles, and that's its lifetime, which has to be quite long. It is a very expensive piece of kit. It is a computer, essentially. And with it being what it is trying to compete with a PC, which in the long term, if you have these mid-season or mid-cycle consoles, is going to make having a console even less financially viable. This is part of the reason why the Switch has been received fairly positively within the industry, because it's a mixture of mobile and console gaming. When you have the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio are just trying to compete with PCs, a fight that the consoles have never won. The consoles have never won against PCs, because PCs are far more generalised across being used for work and typing and other stuff besides gaming. And PCs are always going to be more graphically intensive, because it's an open platform rather than the closed platform of the consoles. A brief industry note of the HTC Vive outselling and outpacing the Oculus Rift as a headset platform. I'm not necessarily surprised. The Oculus Rift has only just released the Oculus Touch. I have used Oculus Touch. I like the Oculus Touch. Whether it will compete with the Vive's touch controllers, I don't know. They're a lot smaller. But what you do with them is essentially the same, so it ends up coming down to personal choice and personal preference. And generally, I personally don't have that much of a preference from one to the other. The HTC Vive and the Rift are good. I have used both. I don't really have that much of a preference. It ends up coming down to personal preference a lot of the time, and it seems that more people are preferring the HTC over the Oculus Rift. And as a final thing from this specific press release, it's basically a story in a headline, something that's almost perfectly built for this. It's 1 in 10 game makers is working on a platform working on a platform exclusive VR AR game, predominantly the Vive. So yeah, 1 in 10 developers are making some sort of VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, most probably virtual reality, because the headsets make you go blind. That being blind, not actual blind. And 1 in 10 is developing some sort of game for VR, and I'm not really surprised. It is a burgeoning platform, and that's essentially what the VR stuff is. It is a platform rather than a way to play. It's not a console. It is, the headsets still are just a peripheral. And because you have to have, like, even with PC, you have to have a high-powered gaming PC plus headset. And one of the examples that I have is Zoetek's Caretaker. You can play it without headset, or you can play it with. It's a peripheral, it's an additional, so it still is a burgeoning platform. It still has a ways to go. It has a lot of potential. I like VR, but it's still one of the things that has a lot of potential and a lot of ways to go before it gets to peak absorption by the consumer base, would be my guess. It still is some ways away of being a solid, stable, single platform to develop on. This is a follow-up thing, because people who watched our Gamescom coverage last year, in the August of last year, I think it was August, one of the games I played was Battle Crew Space Pirates. To those that don't know, it is a side-on action platform shooter affair. You are a player jumping around an arena, shooting things, completing an objective, either deathmatch, team deathmatch, collector things. So this is about a beta playtest that is going to be via online, that is going to be going on from Thursday, January 19th at 11 o'clock Eastern, running through to Sunday, January 22nd, 11 AM Eastern. It is going to be a playtest for North America and Western Europe. Sorry about everyone else. And it's going to be, well, a beta playtest. If you're interested in playing it, if you're interested in the side-on shooter arena affair, then you can go to battlecrewgame.com and follow the various links on the website to get into the closed beta. This is a UK-centric release for the store, for the game store game. They are having a big trade-in. I would have called it the big massive trade-in-a-thon, because it would be more funny rather than calling it big massive trade-in thing. They have an in-betweener star, James Buckley, fancying up the trailer online. It is a 11-day special going on from the 12th, so from yesterday as of recording, going up to the 22nd, where you'll get more money for game trade-ins and more money for console trade-ins. As with trade-ins and the second-hand market, as I'm well aware, as some other people may be aware, it's be wary of your trade-in prices. Shop around for trade-in prices. There are many places, not just big places like Game, CEX, that do trade-ins. You're bound to be local stores, local computer shops that also do trade-ins that may or may not have better prices. So if you are interested in shopping around, this is something that you may be interested in. You get a little bit more money for your trade-ins as long as you trade in before the 22nd of January. But my advice generally is shop around and make sure that you don't need to have the console afterwards. which is one thing that is plainly obvious with the PS3. PS4, not as backward compatible. PS3, odd child. So remember things like that as well, where it's if you want to keep games, make sure you still have the console or the platform device thing that you can still play it on, otherwise you're going to have a game you can't play. Buyer beware. As second market stuff, always buyer beware. This is another follow-up one, but this time from MCM, last October. This name was October, should be October, where some of you may have noticed that I did a video on 88 Heroes. Wasn't anything else, I just thought it was funny. They had a competition about doing more 88 Heroes thing. It's basically the whole thing is timed. You have 88 seconds to get through a level with 88 different heroes that you can choose from. Or it's a fun platformy game, quick-paced platformy game done by Rising Star Games that is coming out. In March, and this is a press release saying that it is going to have a boxed release as well. It was generally a small title. More than anything else, it's something that's very much built for an online market, but it is actually getting a boxed release as well. As another bit of UK-centric news, Insomnia 60, it's loads of the C's in that one, it's making it hard for me. That is going to be in Birmingham from April 14th to April 16th, is also going to be host to the Call of Duty World League. I can't speak today. My radio voice is screwing with me. The Call of Duty World League, presented by PS4, is going to be at Insomnia 60, which is relatively unsurprising. But it is a big Major League event with a 50 grand. I'm not sure why it's in dollars, because it's in Birmingham, and it's going to be in pounds. It's probably because it's going to be like because it in pounds is like 45 grand. It's actually less money. The pound is doing slightly better than the dollar, so it's slightly less money. It's something like 45 grand, or 45 grand, 43 grand, something like that. The exchange rate is like a 0.7, so it's an odd number. So that 50 grand prize pool may sound fun, but it's in dollary dues, so aim down a bit. It's just above 40 grand. I'll make a wild guess and say it's about 45, something like that. And as a continuation to that, the Call of Duty World League is having many events all across Europe over the 2017 season, including London, January 28th to 29th, Paris, the Paris Open from February 17th to 19th, the Birmingham Open 14th to 16th, that's the one that's at Insomnia, and the Sheffield Open in Sheffield on June 28th and 25th. That's it for press things. There are many things that I had to go over, but it's mainly because the one story that has swamped everything else is the Nintendo Switch conference, which even through this, and even with an entirely separate video, go watch, it still takes a little bit of time here as well. For those interested, we also have a Tuesday show where I go through the game press list of games that are going to be released that week, as well as some other news, plus also some emails that I have that I haven't had to talk about, which a lot of the emails I got today were ones that came out for this one. So if you like the video, subscribe, and make sure you're set for notifications if you really like them. And I will see you next time for more of the press rush, where I prove we're not really clairvoyant.